From time to time, you'll see some silly and poorly written news headlines like breathing oxygen linked to staying alive and rooms with broken air conditioners are hot. These are actually kind of funny, but it's headlines like the real estate market is shifting to a buyer's market and homeowners miss their window to sell that concern me. For this month's market update, we're going to play
What kind of headline is that?
Hi, I'm Francine Viola, Realtor in Olympia, Washington, and your host of
What kind of headline is that?
The rules of the game are simple. Is there any truth to these headlines or is it all just hype and clickbait? Let's play and find out. Headline number 1, the housing market shows early signs of cooling down. The writer of this headline is analyzing the uptick in inventory and concluding that the market is cooling off. July was the first month the number of homes for sale were over 300, and this is also seasonally driven. The last time we had over 300 listings was back in July 2020. The last 3 months have been over 300 listings, but in order for the market to cool off, Thurston County would need to add about 2,500 listings per month. And we are just so far from that happening. But with more listings, we saw more sales. July, August, and September have been the highest months on record ever for the number of home sales in Thurston County. Absorption rate measures supply and demand. With just over 2 weeks of supply, we are still very much deep into a seller's market. Headline number 2, the seller's market is over. This headline is a little dramatic, and I don't see the seller's market being over. But the author goes on to write, a decline in over-asking contract prices and fewer bidding wars are among recent shifts. This I can agree on. I just don't agree with the conclusion. In looking at my firm's data, April this year was the peak number of listings with multiple offers, with 69% of our contracts had multiple offers and 96% of the contracts were at or above list price. For September, 41% had multiple offers with 78% at or above the list price. But this change does not mean sellers have missed their window of opportunity. The equity sellers have gained is excellent. Sellers on average gained 20% from last year. And with our historic gains being 5 to 6% per year, this is pretty good. The median home price is now over $435,000. With inventory still low and buyers outnumbering sellers 2 to 1, this continues to drive up home prices, and most sellers are achieving 6-figure gains. Headline number 3, home prices cooling, market is starting to shift. For this particular article, the writer compared July sales to September sales in our neighboring county. The only reason why I bring this up is because you'll see articles like this that are comparing apples to oranges instead of apples to apples. In our market, and probably in many markets around the country, we have a lot of high-end and million-dollar waterfront properties that typically only are listed and sold in the summer. Therefore, our average sales prices tend to be higher in the summer months than any other time of the year. However, this year in Thurston County, that's not true because September still exceeded the summer months. When only monthly numbers are quoted for price, we see big fluctuations because the data set is small. The better and more accurate comparison is to look at the trailing 12 months. This is a larger data set and includes all 4 seasons, which removes the fluctuations that happen with high-end sales. Headline number 4, a supply shock is about to hit the housing market. Foreclosures coming. This headline is in reference to the mortgage forbearance program that expired for many borrowers in September. This program allowed borrowers up to 18 months of forbearance, and September marks the 18th month. But our robust real estate market has helped give most struggling homeowners the ability to easily sell, avoid foreclosure, and even pocket some profit. Back in the mid-2000s, Thurston County's foreclosure filings were 30 to 35 filings per week. By contrast, this year, there are about 3 filings per week. Because most sellers are able to sell for a profit now, I don't see a slew of foreclosures coming to the market anytime soon. Headline number 5, mortgage demand falls as rates rise to highest level since July. In July, the average interest rate was 3.03%, and in September, it rose to 3.1%. For a $500,000 mortgage, this is about $19 per month. I'm not sure this huge surge in interest rates between July and September warranted the RIAR to continue with. Higher interest rates took some recent wind out of the sales in the mortgage market. As of today, the average rate is lower at 3.01%, but these slight increases and decreases are not stopping buyers. In fact, our pending activity broke a record in September with 657 buyers going under contract. Well, this wraps up another month of market stats for the Olympia area. Make sure you get the facts so you can make the best decisions for you. Thanks for playing.
What kind of headline is that?
And I'll see you next time.